Hey guys, Rachel Wong, No Wong Homestead here, and I wanted to hop on again, finally, after that little short video about making ants angry, um, get on here and finally open up the seeds that I ordered recently. Um, I ordered some last year. Actually, it's been almost exactly a year since I kind of actively started this journey into gardening and then getting into the idea. Actually, it's pretty much always been the idea of homesteading. I found a magazine I picked up the the season that we bought this house a few years ago, and I picked it up because it had some cool recipes in it, but it also had a feature on backyard chickens, which is eventually what I want to get to as well. And recently I was finally unpacking some other boxes and I found how to on building your own raised garden beds. So that was kind of funny to just come across these things that I actually had forgotten that I picked up a few years ago, and to have them be reminders of kind of the seeds, sorry for the pun, that I planted a few years ago and now starting to see things coming out of a garden that we built last summer and tiny harvests that we've gotten from that garden. So it's pretty cool. And if even if you're just thinking about it right now, you're in the planning stages, keep that vision in mind. Look at your space that you're planning to have these things and just start putting stuff down on paper, brainstorming ideas. And one day you'll look back and you'll just think, wow, I can't believe it's already been 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it's been. So I don't know. I just thought that was neat. It's been a little over a week now of some off and off rain, or off and on rain. Right now the clouds are clearing and we're getting some nice sunshine after the rain that we had today. And it's been cool because I've been able to actually go outside in the backyard and dig, which is almost impossible once things dry out. And it just really gets my mind going more and more excited for spring and planting. And it's getting to the time now where if you decide to plant things ahead of time to start seedlings, it's about that time most likely where you're going to be looking at starting your seeds indoors. Depending where you are, you might be able to start them directly outside. I'm in zone 9B, which means I have a really late first frost and pretty early in the year last frost. So technically, I guess based on last frost date, I could start planting things outside now. But from what a friend of mine has told me, usually around March, we get just sort of a hailstorm that comes out of nowhere on the forecast. All of a sudden, there's hail. And I would prefer to avoid having little seedlings taken out by hail. They might be fine, but I figure this year I will try to start seedlings inside. So now I've got all my seeds out and I'm starting to think about which ones will need to be started inside versus which ones really need warmer temperatures to even germinate. So for example, I'm really excited. I'm going to plant okra, and if you're looking for seeds, which now is probably still a good time of year to find seeds on different at different places, I will share a few of them as I go here. But last year, by the time I started looking at seeds, a lot of them were out of stock, and I had a friend that just recommended a sort of grab bag, almost, this company that just puts together seeds, kind of like a survival type thing where you get a variety of seeds to try out. So that's where these came from. And I've seen other people open, let me see if I can get that for you. Not that it's going to be the right direction, but yeah. Anyway, these are just the seeds that I got in the pack. These are jumbo pink squash. And from videos that I've seen of other people who open them, it really is kind of a hodgepodge. Some of them will be a little bit more, say, professionally packaged than this one was, but these germinated. It was just the conditions that, I should say these didn't, but the ones I planted in the summer germinated, but the conditions weren't great. There were terrible, terrible fires in California, and even if you weren't in an area that was actively threatened by fires, there was it was unbreathable practically outside. So there were some days I just didn't bother going outside at all, and others where I really limited my time. And if that's affecting me as I'm breathing that air, of course it's going to affect the plants. So some of them germinated, but they struggled and didn't survive. So that's an option. Back to my point, if you're looking for seeds at some of the bigger companies that you'll hear on these YouTube channels, they might start running out of stock pretty soon because more and more people are getting into gardening. But there are lots of companies out there that kind of give you this survival grab bag of seeds, and from what I've seen, you generally get a pretty good mix of seeds. So try it out. But I am super excited because last year I just started picking up seeds thinking maybe I'll be able to plant them in my summer garden. And actually by the time I got around to it, it was just too hot to start seeds. The seedlings would have burned right up. But I found a couple of places. This is Sustainable Seed Company, sustainableseedco.com online. And if I remember, I'll go in and put the links in the description. But this one is a sweet banana pepper. Honestly, I kind of forgot I had picked this one up. And I had been sitting here thinking, man, I should have gotten more peppers. So look at that. I had some. I just got a bunch of flowers because bees have really been struggling. If you're looking into this, maybe you might be interested in starting a honeybee colony. That's not where I am right now, but I would like to plant things that not only help my garden be pollinated, but just kind of help bees in general. So I just got a bunch of flowers. Oh no, the light is not going to really allow me to show these to you very well, but a bunch of flowers, hyssop, let's see, alyssum, nasturtium, which is not just good for pollinators as far as them getting nectar and stuff, but nasturtium is actually edible. And all of these are from the Sustainable Seed Company. So I've obviously got quite a few there. Let's see. So yeah, these are all ones that I got last year that I did not feel it was a good time to plant. I also purchased from Kitazawa Seed Company, which is fairly local to me here in Northern California. And this one I'm excited about. It's a balloon flower, or taraji, and you can eat the root, but it's a couple of years before you can actually harvest it. So until you're able to harvest, you actually have these really pretty flowers that I don't think are edible, but they've been used in dyes. Don't think I'll use it that way, but I will enjoy looking at it. So that's what I've got from last year. Oh, and I was thinking I might plant some things that would be better for cool weather. If I was doing a sustainable, or not sustainable, if I was doing a, boy, I'm forgetting the word. Goodness, I'll figure it out later. But planting things in succession, there we go. Planting in succession. So if I had things grow and then harvested them all, I could plant another row. If they died, like my pea plants did, I could plant another row. But the pea plants came back and I just never got around to planting some other things out there. But I picked up from Baker Creek, which is actually called, their website is rareseeds.com. Baker Creek had some chives that I want to try again because mine struggled and did not survive. I picked up some stevia, which is a natural sweetener without having it affect your actual blood sugar. Kale, lemongrass, squash. So those things I get to try pretty soon here. And things like kale and chives and stuff, those could be planted indoors. Stevia might be a good thing to plant as a start inside and then transplant it later. But here's what I was really excited about. My new seeds that I ordered, actually forgetting some of the things I already had, so we might see some duplicates. But this one came from Botanical Interests, and I think that pretty much covers the four companies that I've ordered from. Botanical Interests is actually sold in a lot of stores locally. I happened to cross some of them in my local Sprouts. Looks like some of these teeny tiny seeds got jostled out during delivery. Looks like they came out of the little free mix that it came with. So let's see what surprises I have in store for myself here. Forget-me-nots. Forgot I got those. That is hilarious to me. Oh my gosh. Uh, so obviously some flowers. Ah, yes, I thought I did that. More stevia. So we'll see. I'll have lots of chances to start that. Black-eyed Susan vine for that trellis that my poor peas died on because they don't get as much sun there as they should. These, from what I read, should do okay with part sun. As the season changes, I'll get more light over there. Still not a ton, so hopefully those will work. Ice plant. Oh, I love ice plant. And I didn't know the first time I grew ice plant at my old house that the foliage, if this is the right one, which I will double check, the foliage is actually edible. Has like, I guess, kind of a lemony tart taste to it. Marigolds. It threw me back to actually when I was a kid. I kind of forgot my mom tried to do a little bit of gardening, and marigolds we had, and I just love them. I even like the smell, and I've read people don't really care for the smell of marigolds. I think they're awesome. Speaking of pollinators and honeybees having a hard time, butterflies, like monarch butterflies specifically, are having a hard time surviving. So I would like to start a little friendly way stop on their migration with some milkweed. And sounds like I'm going to have to check on one of the kiddos if she doesn't settle down there. Got some poppies and pincushion flowers, which I guess are also known as bachelor's buttons. So lots of flowers in that one. Honestly, I've gone a little bit crazy. There's almost no way that all of these will fit in the garden in one season. So I can save some of them for the next season, like next year, next spring. Or I might just find other areas around my house where maybe I haven't amended the soil, but it might work in poor soil, and just see what I get. Just try it out. And there's, I think there's something kind of that frees my mind with that idea, instead of getting sucked into hours and hours of research on where can I plant these, what do I need to do to fix the soil. Instead, just try it. I've got areas that are ready to go, and then I might as well see if I need to spend a lot of time doing new amendments and stuff in other areas, or if I can grow things there without having to dig stuff out or put cardboard down and buy more compost to put on top of the cardboard. Why not? If there are places that I can grow without having to put in a lot more labor and money, then that's a huge help. So yeah, it looks like I actually went a little crazy. I honestly forgot I got some of these things. So I promised my son that we would plant corn, because for some reason he's got corn on the brain. So I picked up one that's supposed to be pretty tasty, not too hard to grow. We'll see. My husband loves making salsas, so I picked up some serrano peppers. Some more flowers. Amaranth is good for pollinators. You could let it go to seed and actually make flour out of it. I seriously doubt I'll get to that point. Look at that. I am so excited about this. Just a black flower. That is so pretty to me. I really, really hope that one grows. So, some bee balm, again, for the pollinators. Oh, looks like I got a double of that type of kale. Ground cherries, which I read are just super delicious, like kind of sweet, and they have that cool little paper husk on them that is also very interesting to me. And then another thing I want to do is actually I have I don't know what you want to call it, like a gazebo or whatever, but a metal like patio cover, almost like a little tent thing, but it's semi-permanent. And we had it for 2 seasons, and this last season, a windstorm, it seems like our windstorms are getting a little bit worse. A windstorm finally took out the fabric cover, and we could keep buying fabric covers every couple of years, or I was thinking what might be neat is if I could grow some sort of bean or pea across that, make it a nice green cover, and then it dies back in the winter anyway. So why not? And then we get food off of the cover, and it hopefully won't get torn apart in windstorms because it's you know, it's a plant. It's made to be outside. It's got the little spaces for the wind to go through anyway. So that's my idea. We'll see how it goes. So I picked up some dragon tongue beans. Look at how neat those are on the outside. You can eat these as like the full pod, I guess, or save them and dry out the beans and save them for later. Picked up some Chinese red noodle beans. I mean, how fun is that? I love looking at that. And so all of those were from Baker Creek, and I got one more shipment here, also from Baker Creek, which I ordered them a week apart from each other because I went back on. Like I said, I went a little crazy. Try to contain yourself, I guess. Because, I mean, I've also been learning, I just haven't jumped in on any. You could do seed swaps because there are a lot of seeds in here, and your chances of actually using all of them at once are, it's not necessarily needed to use them all. So I just remembered later that there were some things I wanted to try. Like this I saw would be available. I was looking at it last summer. It was supposed to be available this year. As you see, it is. And I just love that. It's two of my favorite colors. Cox Comb, and it's just supposed to be a really neat cut flower. Again, I hope it grows. I got more nasturtiums just because the different varieties have slightly different flavors. This one just seemed really neat. Where's the title? Bells of Ireland. It's just this little green stalk with a teeny tiny white flower that blooms in there. Got some more lettuce, cool weather type things, because I want to think ahead to next year, just in case stuff is out of stock by the time I want to try it. More flowers. Yeah, I just ended up actually going a little crazy on the flowers because I just want things that look pretty as well. Yeah, this is mostly flowers. I did pick up some like chamomile. This is German chamomile. There's one that's called Zloty Land chamomile that Baker Creek has, but they were sold out. It's supposed to be more prolific and even easier to grow. But I got what I could. This is well, I'm going to probably say it wrong, a kakuzi melon or gourd, and it grows kind of snake-like there. So there's just a lot of really neat things that you can try out. I was really loving these dark colored flowers. So poppy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be taking out my book. I have a book that I kind of diagram out the space that I already have prepared, the spots where I can put different things, and some things you don't want to grow together. You can look it up because I don't remember off the top of my head. Like, for example, onions, there are some things you shouldn't plant with them. Some things they say that they're really good together, like tomatoes and basil. If you grow them together, tomatoes are supposed to taste better. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it yet. But that's what I'm going to do is go in, kind of plan out where I want to put things. You want to make sure you don't put a high water need plant with something that likes to stay really dry. And if I've made any mistakes, I can double check before I even go out and start planting stuff. And then some of it, I'm sure we're going to get to a point where I just really want to plant something, and I'm going to go out in my yard and say, hey, looks like this has enough sun. Let's try it here. So it's fun to experiment as well. As you're coming up on this season, if you decide to start plants inside, a lot of them will give you a guideline for how warm they need to be to germinate. Some of them for spring might only need to be 60 or 70 degrees, which is perfect for probably just a regular place in your house that it doesn't need extra warmth. If some, like say okra, need to be warmer, like 80, 90 degrees soil temperature to germinate, most of us don't keep our houses that warm. So they have heating mats that you can keep that particular tray warmer so you can get them to germinate inside. So keep an eye on your plants that you're trying to start, like if there's any sort of requirements for temperature. And then just throughout this time of year, keep in mind that as the days get longer and we get closer to spring and summer, the sun is going to shift in the sky a little bit. So it's going to come up higher in the sky for me. I'll get more sun on that super shady area that I have right now. But take a look at where the sun hits wherever you're planning to plant your garden, and you'll have an idea of how much time it gets. If something needs full sun, I think that means it needs 6 to 8 hours of sun every single day to actually grow and produce. Things that need part sun, obviously less time than that. So the more like squash and like kind of gourds and melons that you want to grow, those need a lot of sun. Flowers typically need a lot of sun, so you want to make sure that you're putting those in the right spot. Things like your brassicas, like kale and cabbage, or your lettuces, things that don't flower, a lot of those can deal with less sun. They'll grow slower, but they'll still grow. So like you saw out in the garden in some of my other videos, I have lettuce out there that's slowly growing. So I slowly get to take little leaves off of it to put on a sandwich or something. But it is making it even though it doesn't have a lot of sun right there. And that can be great in the summer. If you are someplace that doesn't get too like hot, just even in the shade, then you could grow something in a more shaded area like lettuce, and it won't, burn up. I seriously doubt I'd have luck with lettuce in the summer here, even in the shade. But if you are in a different zone, it might be a good thing to look at. So good luck with all of your planting ideas and planning. I hope to share successes with you mostly, but I'll jump on here with things that I didn't do right or things that didn't work out and share that with you as well. So happy planting and have a great day. Bye.